Great. I am Benson Oloko, Marble Leaders President. It's nice meeting you again on this platform, a leadership talk. This morning we want to talk about the resilient leader. The resilient leader. Who is a resilient leader? A resilient leader is that leader that has the ability to sustain his focus under pressure. A leader that has the ability to maintain or sustain his focus under pressure. Who is a resilient leader? A resilient leader is a leader that has the ability to adapt to disruptive environment. That leader that has the ability to adapt to a disruptive environment is a resilient leader. And also, a resilient leader is a leader that has the ability to bounce back from a setback. I guess we all know that. A leader that has the ability to bounce back from his or her setback. That's who a resilient leader is. So quickly, let me show us the characteristics of a resilient leader. But before I show you the characteristics of a resilient leader, let me add to this that a resilient leader is that leader that has the ability to overcome adversity without engaging on dysfunctional activities. Okay? A leader that has the ability to overcome adversity without engaging in dysfunctional activities. Dysfunctional activities that attempt to harm other person. Okay, what that means is that you can try because you want to be successful. You don't need to engage in dysfunctional activities that will harm your brother. In other words, for instance, I want to make a profit of 1 million naira and I go back to tarnish the image of someone, to lie against a person just for me, to lie against a person or lie against a company or lie against this product just for me to make sales in the expense of that person. That's dysfunctional activities. Okay. Number one characteristics of a resilient leader. One is self-awareness. Self-awareness. For you to bounce back from your setback, you need self-awareness. Okay? You've got to know yourself. You've got to know your weakness. You've got to know your strength. You've got to know that weakness, that thing that makes you fail, that thing that makes you fall down flat to the floor, that thing that makes you plummeted. You've got to know also your strength. What were those things you were doing that made you succeed? What were those things you did that helped you to move up the ladder of success before now? So you've got to know those things. You've got to know your weakness. You've got to know your strength. You've got to know your emotions. Okay? You've got to know your talents, the talents you have, the gifts you have. What are the things you need to engage on for you to bounce back? What are those things you've neglected all this while? Those trivial things, those little things you neglected. You've got to know all this about yourself, okay? And your emotions. How does it work? Your mental capacity. You've got to know. You've got to know everything about yourself if you really want to bounce back from the floor. And number two characteristics of a resilient leader is confidence. For you to bounce back, you need confidence. You know, one of the reasons why people fail is that lack of confidence. But we've still got to know that some person fail because of overconfidence. So what I mean is that there is a thin line between confidence and pride. You know, there is a way you engage in overconfidence. It can lead to pride. Okay, but if you want to bounce back from the floor and come back to the top again, you need confidence. So where does confidence really come from? Confidence, to me, I believe it comes from your credibility, and it comes from competence, it comes from self-worth, and it comes from, self-worth is also value. Okay, when I mean credibility, I'm talking about your ability to be truthful, honest, okay, integrity. You know, honest gives you confidence. Honesty gives you confidence. I remember when we were little children, sometimes we tell lies. Our parents, they look straight to our eyes, and when they look straight to our eyes, we cheer. This fear comes, and before we know, they know it that we're telling lies. That's what dishonest does. That's what lies does. It brings fear. It attracts you to fear. But confidence, truth gives you confidence. Truth, when you stand by the truth, doing the right thing, it gives you confidence. Okay, and also confidence comes from your competence. If you know what to do, you know how to do it, you have the knowledge, you have the skills, it gives you confidence. And also confidence comes from self-worth. Self-worth, self-worth. You've got to value yourself. The amount of value you place on yourself, that's self-worth. Self-worth simply means the amount of value you place on yourself. You know, people will value you if you value yourself. And that alone gives confidence. Do you have self-worth? What's the word? What's your word you place on yourself? So the amount of word you place on yourself helps to build your confidence. And the last one is setting realistic goals, realistic expectation. And the most time we set goals, those goals that don't come to pass. We set goals that are too big. Especially when you are down, you need realistic goals. Especially when you're on the floor, you need realistic goals. Goals, you know, that can help you. And I think you start gradually, move gradually. Don't just set a goal that will just move you, boom, you know, overnight success. Okay, it will really not help you. Okay, and finally, let me add this to it, and let me wrap this with it. You need effective communication if you want to bounce back. You've got to be truthful to yourself. I am down. And you've got to know how to communicate this to people around you so that they can help you. Sometimes we are down and we don't know how to communicate to people around us that we are down. And it goes a long way willing fighting us, making us to remain on the floor. Well, I think with this little message, I have been able to help someone. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Marvel Leader, based in local. God bless you. Thanks. No problem.